Hello and welcome to another episode of Maddie Allen Live. I'm your host, Maddie Allen, with special guest El Hexidente. Welcome.
Thanks
And
for having me.
yeah, I'm so excited to have you here for this important topic. The title says Airdrops for Life. And I want to kind of back that up a little bit, right? Because even if a title is compelling, it doesn't mean that it's clickbait, right? Clickbait is kind of when somebody's just trying to profit off you. And in this case, we're trying to profit the people in our community and the people who stumble upon this stream who want to learn more about airdrops for life. I don't know. In the lottery, they say, you can win for life. And that's not really true either. But but in the case of airdrops, this might be a new model for how companies, especially technology companies in the crypto space, how they decentralize themselves, which is part of what a cryptocurrency is. And so when we've seen the airdrops be worth so much before, $10,000 for Uniswap airdrop, $3,000 for a 1-inch airdrop, these are things that definitely catch our attention. And so that's why I'm excited to pick up where we left off in the 2 or 3 or 4 segments that I've done about this already. And then we're going to learn from El Hexidente today and learn about all the things that I've tried over the weekend here. I'm getting more experience with multiple potential airdrops. And then, believe it or not, I'm going to have another segment later today that is tentatively called Airdrops and Puerto Rico, which is going to be with Big Kurkowski. And again, trying to learn from as many people as possible who have had experiences chasing airdrops, and so that we can help with your security. We can help with your success. And then also we're going to be tying in Hex and tying in Puerto Rico, which is a place that lots of people like to go if they want to be legally dealing with taxes and paying less. So let's go ahead and watch this 30-second intro, and then we'll get down to the topic. Say we have multiple people in the comments, and they're clamoring for us to say that Hex is like an airdrop for life because it pays you every day. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means to you?
Yeah, that means a lot. It's true because every day it's at different times for different people. If you're in the United States, it's around I think 4 or 5 p.m. It mints your yield for that day. So whatever you have staked, whatever your APY is for that stake or the stake ladder or your entire group of stakes, you'll be getting a payout every day. So your coins are minted. So yeah, you are getting a Hex airdrop every day, and it just goes in line with Hex's kind of being one of the originators of actually using platforms that led to the users getting airdrops, which has been awesome for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's in fact it's even more incredible than getting an airdrop every day, because with an airdrop you would have tax liabilities when you receive it, but with Hex, all you're doing is you're accruing interest. But you're not getting technically, like legally speaking, you're not getting paid every day. You're able to see a bigger and bigger amount of Hex that you'll be able to claim whenever you redeem your shares in Hex for Hex itself, right? Which is tradable to USD. So if you literally got an airdrop every day in Hex, that would be a worse situation than the situation that Hex has set up with the share system, which is part of how people are buying in with Hex their share of the future compound interest in the system. It's very beautiful. Looks like, okay, and you're back.
Yes. Yeah, I was hearing Krypto Sparbuck in my ear. They just popped on, so for some reason.
Okay.
So, but yeah, no,
that's not a bad show to listen to. They just had Steph on, who's the creator of Staker app, the technology company that will be taking Hex to the next level, it seems, since Hex is a finished product. It no longer requires development and continues to become more and more decentralized. And but the Staker app is a company that's been formed by members of the Hex community. So I'm sure people will love to check out that show that we just watched ourselves.
Oh yeah, it was great. And that's Steph and Patrick Hexline. Yeah, those are two smart dudes. Yeah, and Steph, and I always like hearing him talk. He's next level for sure.
I've been learning so much. We had Richard do a several hour show yesterday, and I've just started taking notes with my keyboard because I don't have time to go back and re-listen to all the Hex content. And I know I'm going to want to review what was discussed and what I learned so I can really crystallize it. So maybe
so
even
much.
Do some shows to recap.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, you could probably do a show of just recapping the stuff that's on the shows, all day.
Now, I know that I'll probably be talking to you backstage to learn more about who you are and what your Hex story is. I love seeing you on all the different programs, whether I'm just a viewer or whether I'm with you on a panel or something. I already know a lot of your background story. This is valuable time here that we have, that we've probably got an audience tuning in who wants to learn about airdrops for life. They saw that beautiful thumbnail that I made with the jet engine, and you feel like you could just jump off and get rich. And so I want to talk about, first off, like just what airdrops have you looked into and which ones have I looked into? And then we can get straight into what those are looking like.
All right. Yeah. So I'll go over some of the ones that I found. And also, whenever we're, just looking at these, just one thing you don't want to do is go put your seed words in any weird places or do any weird things
point.
like that. Like,
okay.
The number one thing should be security first.
Number one is security.
Yeah.
If you were running your own money printer, would you risk that in order to pick up some pennies in front of a freight train? Probably not. That's an inside joke of something that the founder says, don't pick up pennies in front of freight trains. And Hex is definitely, to a lot of us, we see it as possibly, we see it as better than Bitcoin, like technologically and otherwise. And so we know that we're early, and we know that our Hex is going to be worth a lot. And so let's just rattle off what the names are of these different ones. And before we talk about how to claim them or whether we would even claim them, because we're not going to tell you what to do with your crypto and with your stuff, then we can talk a little bit about what security measures we take, and then talk about what the steps are. So I have played around already with MetaMask, Swap, Paraswap, Zerion, ZK Swap, Matcha, ENS, Ethereum naming system, and OpenSea. And a lot, like all of those except for ENS, I've heard rumors that they could do an airdrop. One of them I do not believe will, and so we'll get to that. I want to leave something out there for people to keep watching. And El Hexidente, have you had experience with any of those or any ones I did not list?
Yeah, and there's a couple distinct differences too, because on some of them, like Paraswap, all they're doing for their airdrop is that they're going to refund people's gas. Basically, it'll be like 50% of the gas of a transaction that was. So it's not the uni type, or it's not like the 1 inch.
So I wanna comment on that, because I think here's what we're going to run into a lot. There are going to be people lying, overestimating whether there's going to be an airdrop on some of these things because they can profit from that by getting more users, right? And then there are also going to be teams that lie and say they're not going to be doing an airdrop because they don't want people to game the system. They want their tokens to be distributed to more users. We've heard reports, one report of somebody saying that they messaged the devs at 1 inch and asked them whether they were going to do an airdrop before they did. And they apparently categorically said that they would not do one while they were putting together an airdrop and doing one, right? And so there is, that needs to be considered, that even the people who are in charge of these decentralized or of these exchanges that wish to become decentralized and wish to issue tokens, they aren't always going to be reliable sources of whether they will or not.
Yeah, and I don't think they're allowed to. I'm not sure about that, but I don't even know if they're technically. But whenever you read, they want people to get the airdrops that have been using their platform consistently. But so yeah, there's going to be, so the Paraswap, they give out it's MLN, it's Melon tokens. It's on the oh man, I can't remember.
Okay, that's what the MLN is. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what they're going to use. But I think I seen one that had claim, but they hadn't showed up yet. So that one I wasn't putting a whole lot into. But a few others, matcha.xyz. A lot of these have strange domains, so you guys probably shouldn't just enter them in, because there's lots of weird sites out there. So
don't just search matcha. Yeah.
All these have, a lot of them have different domains. It's not a .com or a .net. It's like a .fi or it's a dot. So Bamboo Relay was one of the others. Zapper, Zapperfi, DYDX, that's a leverage margin trading type platform. So I didn't mess with that. There's videos of other people that did. Relay.radar.tech. That one's pretty cool, because that one you can experiment on the wrapping and unwrapping of. That's kind of it's one of their things, is the wrapping and unwrapping of ETH, and I'm pretty sure it's cheaper than anywhere else on that. But as far as more airdrops, possible.
How much was it?
So I don't have any of the amounts on it on any of them.
Okay. I'll just comment on that. Richard yesterday recommended matcha as the preferred place to wrap your ETH if you're going to use wrapped ETH as a way to set a limit order to buy Hex when it dips automatically. On places like, I think there's 2 places you can do it. And he mentioned, I think he was talking about Bamboo Relay to set the limit order, but I know he's mentioned before, what is it? Pine.finance. And I know Captain RG3 has mentioned that he does that. And so for any of these things we're talking about, like airdrops are so profitable, El Hexidente and I and others will probably continue to do research and continue to make shows updating you about the ins and outs of these things. With matcha.xyz, I experienced extremely low cost to wrap and unwrap ETH. Or actually, all I really did was I unwrapped ETH, but I had been paying, even with similar GUI costs, I don't mess around with any of this stuff unless the GUI is 90 to 110. And then sometimes if I really have too much time on my hands and I really have an itch to like explore one of these things, then maybe if the GUI is like 120 or 130, I'll do something. But I think in the 120 to 130 range, I was paying at some places maybe like, I'm not going to say where I think it was, but just at some of these exchanges, being able to wrap ETH was costing me like 20 or no, like 30, $40. And then when I went to Matcha, it was like $10 or 12.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that's how the I might be mixing them up. There's so many different, but the bamboo or no, the radar relay one that I mentioned.
Okay.
That one, as far as the wrapping and unwrapping goes, sounds just like that. Like the price was significantly lower, if I remember right. But the one thing Richard mentioned yesterday was that the matcha, the limit orders, there's an order book that only matcha and like that one other one will fill on. So he mentioned something like that. It's
0x order book or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he said only the limit orders on those exchanges will catch those order books. And
that's so
important.
Like maybe that's why they're not talking about Pine.finance anymore or whatever that one was.
Yeah, probably so.
Okay.
I do remember mentioning him back in the day, but yeah, he didn't mention it yesterday that I heard. But yeah, I mean, and I don't know if the wrapping and unwrapping. I didn't know if usually I was like doing a swap, either just ETH to USDC, then back, or but needed something else. But generally, it was just at the gas fee to do whatever it was on for the possible airdrop, and then that's kind of the speculation or the risk you take is if you don't get an airdrop and you spent the gas fee, then you're out the gas fee.
Yeah. And so with those limit orders, if you're putting things in that will never hit, especially on one of the ones that Richard warned against, he was saying that you can't cancel it if you put it too low.
Was it 1 inch or?
Yeah, I think so.
It was the main 1 inch page, but he had the other one. But yeah.
So there's so much that we're learning, and we can't emphasize security enough. We are not responsible if you're playing around with these things and lose, right? Because that's what the whole idea here is, that this is only for advanced users. This is only for testing purposes. Like we want to be able to walk a line as people in Hex, like who are advanced users, and you have to learn from somebody, right? And so I try to learn from Richard first off, and then I try to learn from other members in the community who have more experience, right? And but I still take responsibility for my own crypto, right? And so I don't give my seed words out. I don't download strange applications. I don't go to strange websites, right? That's why before I even started working on what airdrops are out there, well, first I did a bunch of MetaMask wallets because I know about MetaMask. I've been using it for a long time, and so the swap function there is known. It's known to be more expensive because they default you to the fast, higher gas fees. And so I did a video or two that showed how to go in there and gamble with lower transaction fees that might not go through. And let me tell you, when they don't go through, it's a headache. So that's another reason why, if you want to set yourself up for headaches, and if you want to learn a bunch of new stuff and possibly get rewarded with thousands of dollars of airdrop money, there might never be another airdrop, but there might be significant ones in the future. So I wanted to say Matcha, I think that was the one that I tried where it did not record it to etherscan.io. So I don't believe that. So it recorded it to my MetaMask wallet that I used Matcha as the exchange. Mm-hmm. but all of the airdrops that we've seen that have been significant, MetaMask and 1inch. I didn't get the Torn. Did you get that one?
Nope.
Tornado. Okay. The two airdrops that I've gotten, they went through a contract or a router on the blockchain to those companies. Those companies, I believe, took a fee, right? The reason why I predict MetaMask might do an airdrop is because they're taking a fee if you use their swap function.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
they're recording it
significant, too.
onto the blockchain so that they know who deserves the tokens, and they can set up their criteria for how many trades you have to do or what the minimum transaction amount has to be. On Matcha, I'm probably not going to prioritize that as an airdrop possibility, like because it's not recording to anything but MetaMask. However, what gives it a little bit higher weight, in my opinion, is that Richard mentioned it, right? And so Richard has literally talked about all the ones, like he's the one who taught Hexicans to use Uniswap. He's the one for 1inch. He's the one for Tornado.cash, right? Like, so if he's saying Matcha, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I will do some on there to prioritize that, because that's new information that came out yesterday that he said to start using Matcha as a tool.
Yeah, and I was gonna say with the price of gas the way it is, it's probably wouldn't be a good idea. Like all this stuff, we're just speculating and looking at it. So probably wouldn't be the best thing to go in and like a lot of the guys got airdrop extra 1inch, so then they could use that to then do some swaps and try to get some airdrops. But if you were just trying to go out on a whim and hoping you get one and spending money you don't have to try to do that, that's not a good idea for sure too. So yeah, because we don't know, like you said, that one probably don't put a strong emphasis on, whereas maybe more like MetaMask, like a Fox token, whatever they do, it's more of a still not a for sure thing. But MetaMask is so high; they're like number 6, I think, on the total like Ethereum fees right now.
Yeah, they were number 7 when I looked the other day for 30-day.
Yeah, so they take a cut on top of it, and usually if you're dealing with Ethereum or USDC or Hex, it's Uniswap is going to be pretty close to the best price. But if you're doing other stuff, the DEX could be quite useful. They're becoming so popular now. Usually I wouldn't be like a proponent of going on a different sites, and that's like the number one thing to be careful. It's like you could be one letter off in the domain, and say basically someone could make a duplicate type site with one letter, like try to, like how they do the phishing type sites, but different. Basically tried to clone it, make it look like it, so you don't expect it, and you just kind of walk into it. Yeah, it's not so definitely always be cautious for that stuff, but now you see dexes they're not some like foreign thing. They're popping up all over the place, and the volume getting run through them is pretty impressive. Uniswap obviously like started most of it, and now we see the layer 2, and so another one would be like the ZK swap. So the ZK swap token airdrop would be another one possibly coming up as well.
The airdrops, they're part of a pattern that happened actually before the Uniswap, right? I mean, to some extent, Bitcoin, right, like was giving out free to people who were just kind of hanging out, running the code. And then, right, so there's this kind of like freemium model that starts, and then, all of like a ton of the major coins have been airdropped to Bitcoin holders. I think almost like many of them that Richard talks about.
Yeah, most of them.
And then I've even known, Mimblewimble coin went from being basically like created by a dev team. And then the dev team, like, instead of like exit scamming, they like exit benefited the community by doing a surprise giveaway to people who held the original Genesis tokens, and basically like doubled or tripled your amount of Mimblewimble coins in a series of, like, the first one was planned, but then they did a bunch of surprise giveaways. And that was incredible. And that was to allow the dev team to take a step back and stop being centralized. And that was around the time Hex was launching. Hex was given to Bitcoin holders for free. 2.7% of Bitcoin free claimed, which is now more. It's more than Michael Saylor and Elon Musk bought in, the amount of Bitcoin that free claimed on Hex. And so this is part of a trend. So it's not just the people who are airdropping to users who used an exchange. Now that's pretty interesting. Let's consider, so this ZK swaps, I think, could be good or bad. I think that's pretty much kind of a gamble, because what they're saying is, they announced 5 or 6 days ago now that they will double the amount of tokens that you have in about 2 or 3 days from now. So what that does is it caused the price to go up from like $2.50. I think I bought like $80 worth of the tokens. And then it went from $2.50 all the way up to $10, right? And but what we would expect is that whenever everybody doubles their coins, then a lot of people would sell at that moment, and that could drop the price well below what everybody bought in for. It could drop the price to 5% of what everybody bought in for. And so that's a very different type of airdrop that's known ahead of time versus speculated ahead of time, and it comes out as a surprise, right? Because especially if you're buying tokens that are rare and then the airdrop makes them not rare, that's a lot different, right? Or less rare. But I know people in Hex who, have gotten so many airdrops, so much free money that they could afford to put some money into ZK swaps. Like I said, I put my $80 in, and I just wanted to learn how to provide liquidity. And so I put in an equal amount of ETH, and that's like, that's pretty cheap for me to like learn something. And then I don't really care what the price of the token does. What else have we learned? So,
I was just gonna add with the ZK swap. They announced that it was like gonna be a 1-to-1, but yeah, like you said, it's the price is running up because of I like the ZK. I don't know exactly how it's ZK sync, ZK roll ups. I don't know exactly what those guys are. The technology is really cool, but the layer 2 stuff's promising. But the airdrop in itself, you don't know what maybe because the fees are very very low, that they would on that using that they might use them to swap into other coins. Or they could sell them, I don't, it's all speculative. So yeah, you don't, that's another one where it's not like the 1 inch or the uni. It was where it was probably, you could have done one transaction and gotten, quite a bit for your like bang for your buck. But this one's just 1-to-1. We don't know about the price. Who knows? It's been running up. So you never know.
So, and with ZK swaps, so I did, use that platform again to like, I wasn't there because I didn't know about that the airdrop was going to happen. I was hunting for airdrops, but I was also looking because Randy recommended that it might be an interesting layer 2 solution to avoid all the high gas fees. So I got on there and I was able to do a transaction. They say it's instant. It's not instant, but it doesn't take forever. It maybe takes a minute or two to clear through their system once the funds have been deposited. So you have to pay a gas fee to get them on there, and then you have to get pay a gas fee to get it back on the layer 1 chain. But while you're inside of the ZK swaps contract, then you're able to trade without fees, but between a limited number of coins that they have on there already. So
yeah, that's kind of why I was, I don't trade anything. So it's like,
yeah,
if a gas fee to enter and a gas fee to exit, I'm not doing a bunch of stuff in the middle. So it was kind of like the other one is QuickSwap, and that's not doing airdrop, but they have a pretty good sized liquidity pool with Hex. And I know Brennan and a nerd girl, I think, works or started working for that company or companies. I think it might be. It's the layer 2 QuickSwap. I haven't fully done it yet because you have to use you can use MetaMask, and it links to the Matic network. So I haven't done it. I've been actually pretty busy with stuff. So but
okay.
It's really cool to see that. But that they actually listed Hex. Hex is on there, and people are using it right now. So that's really cool to see that too.
So Tech Dolphin, you're talking about the Medium article where they talk about the ZK swaps thing, and if you read that super carefully, you will find that it's not exactly clear when they're removing the liquidity. To me, right? It says that they'll remove the liquidity, and I can't tell if it was at the time of the announcement or if it was at the time that the distribution happens, which makes a big difference. And then it said that they will put the liquidity back in of something like $12 million or whatever, but only under certain conditions determines when they put it back in based on what the price of the token is, whether it's at least 50% from when they remove the liquidity, but the price of the token. But then again, my question is, when did you remove the liquidity? Like what was that criteria, and when did you do that? So you're saying it's kind of sketch. And so that's something we can take into consideration. It took more than 30 minutes to withdraw from their layer 2. Okay. Wow. In the Medium article, they said that they would remove the liquidity to try to keep the token price at the same levels so people would not dump the token into oblivion. Interesting. 72 hours after the airdrop. But when did they remove the liquidity, which determines the price? Because it's not exactly 72 hours. It's within 72 hours based on what the price is compared to when they removed the liquidity. And I didn't see that they said exactly when concretely they removed the liquidity, at what price the token was then, that it would have to be at least half of that price for them to not wait the full 72 hours to put the liquidity back in. So those kind of details matter. And if it gives you a headache, just like, don't worry about it. I have trouble like walking the line, right? And you could tell between like the security. I want people in Hex to be safe. That's the number one thing. Number two thing is the more free money we can get, the more we can put it into Hex and pump everybody's bags. So don't fall on your own sword here. One of the questions that Richard answered for me, which I'm glad I'm doing, is to have a separate computer for dealing with the internet and dealing with streaming and all that kind of stuff from the computer that you're using to do staking. Just separate them,
Oh, yeah.
Separate your crypto stuff from your internet stuff. That's the best way you can do it. So that you're not interacting with a bunch of unknown things. And then, then you can set up wallets that are for specific purposes other than your main multiple accounts for Hex, if that's how you have things set up.
Yeah, exactly. And a computer like just that's or whatever it is just used for crypto isn't even that expensive nowadays. Like a good computer that's just used for that you can secure. It's it's a little bit more than a treasure would cost, or a ledger. It's not even. It's worth it. It's not. Some people are like, well, I have to buy a whole nother computer to. It just depends how serious you are about protecting your investment. If you do have an investment, it's just something to think about. It's pretty important. I was going to add one thing. A lot of the airdrops too seem to be focused around governance models within the DeFi like ecosystem, which is like in the liquidity pools. So I haven't seen it work out very well. Not that because they're trying to bring kind of a governance model to the decentralized world using a tokenized system. So the people that have a bigger share or have of the piece get more of those governance tokens, and they're allowed to vote on things. And I think they're the ones that get also the liquidity providers usually are one of the main focuses for an airdrop too, and bring in new users, I would think. But so yeah, you see the tokenizing and the airdrop kind of focused around. There's that side of it as well, and I don't know too much about that side, but you always see that is within the conversation of the minted uni or 1 inch or whatever it may be.
That's right. And this is making me think of another like pro tip that I would have for people is I always take screenshots of everything I'm doing when I'm dealing with some new thing that I don't understand, right? Don't take a screenshot of your seed words. Go ahead and take a screenshot if you're interacting with a new site and you're doing transactions. That way you can go back and you can look. You can see how much gas you paid. You can see what the exact website name was. You might be able to see in the screenshot what the address or the name of the wallet is that you're working with. And then I would also recommend that people keep an Excel spreadsheet together. Like, the more organized you can be, the better. People, what we're doing here is we're doing it first, and then we're giving you the benefit of our stumbles. And I see that a lot in Hex, right? Like, we didn't know how valuable t-shirts were on day one of Hex. I didn't, right? And so there's a lot of things that we learn along the way. I have learned that I want to keep an Excel spreadsheet. I want to keep track of the wallet addresses. I want to keep track of the date that I did the transaction, the amount that the transaction was for in some cases, and which wallets have interacted with which contracts. And I want to be able to see that through etherscan.io as well. Because on Etherscan, again, it's telling us whether that's been recorded to the blockchain as you interacted with that, versus with Matcha, it recorded it only to MetaMask. And let's see. So I'm keeping a spreadsheet of all that. Matcha, when I first went to it, it like gave me an option to deposit. It like wanted a very specific amount of ETH. It was like deposit 0.0135 ETH or something. And I was like, that's weird. Like, normally I would ask you to take me out to dinner first or something. And
why did it ask for that amount?
I don't know. And then I couldn't get it back. I couldn't go back to that screen. But that might be the way that you get it to actually show up on Etherscan. So maybe I didn't do that one the correct way in order to qualify for a potential airdrop. And so that's something we'll have to, look into more if we need to. But I was able to successfully record onto etherscan.io using zk-swap, using Zerion and Paraswap, and of course MetaMask. What has your priority been, or what other insights do you have about some of these?
Zerion was the other one. I'll just rattle off. I almost don't like rattling them off though, because I don't like people like just trying to go find them. But so just be smart about it. And
I could bring up the list of this.
Yeah, we have
names.
we have because that's important. Because for instance, and some of them might have already happened. We don't know when the snapshots take place on some
Correct.
of them, on most of them. So on the majority. So, and
you
also,
could spend a bunch of money chasing after these, and then it comes out a few days later. Oh, the deadline was actually a month ago, right?
yeah, exactly. And
That's
and
the
most
risk that
people,
you're taking.
and most people aren't, even the Hexicans, they aren't getting them all too. So if you haven't like got any or haven't got all of them, don't feel like you missed out. And I don't know very many people that have just got every single one and done it all right. There's always one that they missed or the criteria wasn't met. That's one other thing, is just a general rule. Sometimes it'd be to, if you are gonna do it, to keep it over $250 amount, or at least that much, because sometimes the criteria is that, like, I don't think Uniswap or 1inch or the Miniswap was that low, but they did give you more if you had swap more. So it was relevant on, you did get more if you used it more. So if you do have that, some people do a minimum of 1 Ethereum, which, it just depends where you're at. But some people do.
My minimum has been much less than that, I'll say. So
yeah, I mean, that's on most of them. It's been if you just used it and it was over $20. I think that was like the low end on the 1inch and the uni, something like that. But say you had the 250 and it was just sitting there, and you could have just swapped, ETH to USDC and back, or that, and you got, say, 600 1inch tokens instead of 50. That's that's a big difference. It's worth it if it's you kind of
yeah.
see
my strategy hasn't been the best. It hasn't.
Well, yeah, and you learn kind of along the way. You always be learning stuff, because it can be really like frustrating and stuff. You always kind of want to sit, and try to enjoy the process and learn like along the way. Because especially with the layer 2 stuff that's getting happen, it's complicated, and like getting into it is complicated. Yes. So yeah, it might solve gas, but it's not easier to like get into for most people.
If Molly the investor and I kind of have a competition with airdrops, and he's crushing me because he did a bunch of Mooniswap, and so if there's like a $250 minimum for MetaMask, and let's say he gets a lot, and let's just say I get 0 and he gets a lot, I will come on stream and cry. Okay, that's what I'm offering my audience now. So,
we'll take you through some
don't feel bad if you miss out, especially, or if I miss out, I will feel bad, and I will do that for the community as a form of catharsis. Yeah, I don't think I'll get angry. I think I'll.
And I just like to think of these things as more like icing on the top. I don't think they should dig into like your like principle, to try.
Oh yeah. I'm not risking. I'm not selling any hex for this. Like.
Yeah, and some people though, I don't know.
If I didn't have airdrop money already to speculate on this, I can't say whether I would be speculating with like, my hard-earned dollars, but I really would not with Hex. I wouldn't end a stake early to try to gamble with this. Maybe unless I was like a Poseidon or something.
Well, yeah, and just say if you were to just do it today, like say today you went to on MetaMask on the swap, it's like probably $100 minimum to do a swap on there today.
I woke up and I checked.
It's really high.
I checked the ETH Gas Station info, and it was the highest I've ever seen in my life. It was like 450 for like a medium.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw 500.
No, because it was open. It was open in the middle of the night, and so it must have updated like whenever it wicked down somehow. So I actually got a screenshot of when it was 30 Gwei somehow. I don't know. I don't know why
Yeah,
it showed me that, but
no, I saw it too. I have that too, and even like Big Kurkowski posted it, but I don't know if the data
oh,
wasn't showing up right, because I think well, Hex.Vision and Etherscan both I think showed that. At
okay.
least the gas tracker one. I think for that split, because I was like, no way, because I went and
Yeah.
it was back up to like 500. Usually
Yeah.
it'll go to 200, 300, and then you can watch it, go. It usually doesn't go from 30 to 500. It was like it blipped for, I don't know, but it does wick down though sometimes, and you miss it. It just happens. But yeah, it's been brutal. I mean, I know it's like that's why it's really important to be in position before this kind of stuff happens. Like months, it does suck trying to carve out a position, you know, late in the game.
Um, I think in some cases, if there was a failed transaction, you get it. It just depends on the complex set of rules that they put together. I wouldn't like go around failing transactions as a way to like lowball the system, but I think that if you read the fine print on one of them or both of them, they included some failed transactions. I know my failed transactions didn't count with 1 inch. I would have had two or three more airdrops, except I was sitting there like, oh, it's gonna cost me an extra $10 to do this transaction on 1 inch. I'm going back to Uniswap, like even before the deadline, like because we didn't know. Um, Ooh, nice. I love what the community's saying. I bought the hex dip instead of hunting airdrops. Yeah, good job. That's gonna pay off for you in the long term. We know.
Well,
Um,
well, that's the biggest thing is like these airdrops have turned into hundreds or thousands of hexicans being able to pay their bills and or swap into hex and get a bunch more t-shares or whatever they want to do with it. So that's like the main reason. It's a lot. Like I did a poll, just a rough like poll, and it was up there. I mean, you could just start adding the numbers together, and how many wallets, how many drops. It's really cool. That yeah, it's been a
yeah.
good thing for the community.
What do we think about encapsulated tokens? I was I was feeling the same way as Richard, basically having a seizure when I was thinking about it. Um, he addressed that yesterday. He had some good quotes that I might recap in a special episode. I'll recap the encapsulated information. That's there. I think could be multiple shows about that. It's something that's already being developed. People are working on it. Once they finish making the code, it will more or less be public, and then people will be able to copy the code and make imitations that have scams in it, have legitimate use cases to compete for lower fees. And there's at first I was scared of it, and now I'm neutral on it, like Richard is. But going from a place of fear to a place of no fear is nice. That's what I can say about my current situation with that without getting way too much off topic from the airdrop thing.
Yeah, I could touch on it really quick. I mean, having him talk about it was good, because that is one of the first things that I've had people ask me that were from that the other side of the stock market, legacy type, I guess, market. Is, hey, can we like trade these things, or is there a few? So it's basically, it would be a 555 stake as sold as a future, right? And just like he's a grayscale type competitor. Would that be something separate than the 555 stake encapsulation, or the same? Like, is that was I
Um,
because he mentioned both of those things, but I didn't know if those were the same thing or were those two different things.
I think there's too much to go into it when we're
Yeah,
already
there's a
in
lot.
the middle of like a complicated topic with airdrops.
That's
And I love that the community is asking about it. And I think I would love to do a show where we go really deep into it and show you all the complicated answers that you deserve.
Yeah. One other, I'll just we'll go right back into the airdrop. But he did mention it would give an opportunity for another blockchain to use it.
Yeah. Good
and
point. Very
gain,
good point.
have Hex be known on there so that'd be cool. I buy tops and sell bottoms instead of chasing airdrops.
As most people do, yes.
He's a soldier.
Oh, wow. This is an interesting idea. Yeah, there is kind of. I never thought of it that way. Is there gas limit order? Yeah, if you want your transaction to sit there and then you can't do any other transactions on that wallet, you can limit the amount of gas that you're willing to pay and then be held hostage by the miners until you decide to pay them more to cancel it. Which is what I ran into when one of my wallets, like randomly without my knowledge, made a transaction for like 15 gwei of gas whenever the going price was like 130. I don't know why it did that.
Hey, do you know how to fix that?
Yeah, it's a pain.
By sending or you just go into MetaMask and look at the nonce, and then it's the number that the transactions are ordered. So 137, 138. So you would look at the nonce on that, and you'll send a zero dummy transaction behind it of just 0 Ethereum, and it'll connect and push that one through. It's a little complicated, but
so in MetaMask, you follow the instructions that pop up on etherscan.io whenever it says, "Oh, looks like your transaction isn't going through now that it's been, 25 hours." So it's in MetaMask, I think, and in etherscan.io, they both link to like the same instructions on exactly what you're talking about, so people can.
Yeah, and you could set the gwei.
You just don't
want to set it too low, because if the gas never dips that low, there's two things you can do in MetaMask. You can set the time, how long before your transactions time out, and you can set the gwei level. So it's if you only set it to time out for 10 minutes and you pick a slow time, and it's not going to catch in that 10 minutes. So you need to expand your time to at least a few hours, and then if try to get a lower fee. You look at the gwei and kind of try to judge it and see if it'll catch that low in that period of time, and then you could set it. But like you said, you can't do another transaction until that one goes through, or that one, stuff happens that needs to happen. Then, we could go back onto airdrops.
Bitfinesse will be quenching his thirst by drinking the tears of those people buying paper hex in the future. El futuro.
Well, yeah, and then there was there's a lot of exciting things happen that are, it's just that trading atmosphere. People, those guys that do that stuff like to trade, and they like to lose their money. So it works out better for the stakers. You don't have to worry about that stuff. You just get to chill out and just collect interest. And
now, if everybody who's watching is willing to hit the like button and subscribe, I will be willing to share the screen here of the exact addresses we got from Brennan for which airdrops he's predicting.
Yeah, I'm
glad you all kept your promise. Work. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I know that you did. Thank you. Okay. Guilting people into doing it. Perfect. Okay. So these are the exact addresses that Brennan recommends. We haven't tried them all out. We don't recommend them all. This is just another community member who has been in the space a long time and has been right about a number of things.
So yeah, can you leave that up for a second? So I went on at least and looked at the MetaMask Matcha, Bamboo Relay. Couldn't get it. Zapper was good. Paraswap was good. DYDX, it's margin trading, but it works. The Zerion works. Relay.radar.tech works, but that app .defi saver, I didn't get that. The total exchange, instadap, token sets, app.enzyme, I didn't get those, or the mirror.xyz. Couldn't get those ones to I didn't try real hard though, but that first about 8 or so, 9.
Awesome. Yeah, very interesting. The DYDX, I think Motley Investor made a video about that, maybe. I can't remember now, but he's talked about it, and I don't think what he was doing was margin trading. He was just converting ETH to USDC, and then he was withdrawing that to a wallet that would then convert it using one of these other exchanges, and then put it back into DYDX, like for another separate wallet with a separate seed. That's the other thing that we've been saying in these videos is if you're going to be spending so much gas, it might be worth it if you have your OPSEC right and you don't have any user error, then you would be setting up separate seeds so that you're using actually separate profiles, basically, of MetaMask wallets to interact with these things, because that's one way that they could stop people from gaming the system or cut down on people gaming the system, is by being able to identify, which is kind of a more advanced thing that might exist now, where they could identify and only give not one per public address like they have in the past, but one per seed, even though they don't know your seed, and you will never share it with anybody.
Yeah, that's right. I think so what you do, on MetaMask, you can create multiple accounts inside the MetaMask itself, but like you said, you say if you do have Windows or Apple, it'd be just a completely new user, like how you have guest and then you have your main profile, and then you'd have another user, then another Brave browser or whatever browser extension you use with the MetaMask, and it's going to generate you your seed words. Same process, write them down 3 or 4 times, put them, carve them into your skin or something to where you don't forget them, and then just be really serious about the seed words, and then that classifies as a completely separate account, not related to the other, and you can function on both of those and repeat the process up to as many times as you would want, I guess.
Go ahead and take your screenshot of this before I take it away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to share something else.
Cool.
Because the more tools I've learned and found helpful, I want to make sure that I cover those at least once in these different videos. So on hex.vision is all you have to type. Then you can go to gas prices, and it will show you so many cool things, including this heat map of the last 30 days, and it'll show you when the average slow gas price by hour was the cheapest. You can play around with all these different parameters. Instead of 30 days, you could say the past 7 days or something. I don't think you can go less than that, although you could try. And,
I think there's 24 boxes that represent one for each hour, up and down. I think there's 7 left to right. So basically 24 hours in one for each day, and it's telling you, the real dark red is the high gas fees, and the lighter color is the lower gas fees, and usually Saturday and Sunday is the lighter colors. Right now it looks kind of blended. Or there it is. Yeah,
I've also found Monday nights to be good, but those were not Monday nights where there was so much volatility in the price of ETH. So I think all those people panic dumping their ETH now that the exchange basically liquidated a bunch of people, and maybe now they can pump the price of ETH higher or something. There's something strange going on. I did a 10-minute episode about it earlier today. You can watch on my page. It would probably take me 20 minutes to recap my 10-minute video, so just go watch it.
Oh yeah, go check it out. There's some weird stuff going on for sure. But yeah, this shout out to Firebun for this this site. He's the one that came up with this.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't use this. I knew about Hex.vision. I use it for other things, but honestly, there's so many things you can do with this site. It kind of hurts my head sometimes, and so I'm getting used to having this much power. Let's just say.
Yeah, I used it strictly for the gas prices mostly for a while, and that graph on the bottom, the one with I think 7 spaces, and it goes from the white to the dark green. That's Sunday, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Right there you go.
Right there. And,
perfect.
Yeah, so it gives you kind of the days and the average GUI.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, and well, we don't have to get too deep into it, but you start looking into Binance, like spamming the Ethereum network super hard. Like it's there's some shady tactics going on. You know, it's their competitor, but there's some weird stuff going on with the network being clogged all the time. You can look at the routers and what's going on. You know.
Yeah, the other thing that's going on is you know, there's always people trying to scam you and call you up on your phone. You know, I continue to see an uptick in scam calls and other things. So watch out for those too. Don't fall into those. Do we have anything else that we want to cover here? I know there's another half an hour before Hexologist.
Yeah, there is one thing we could touch kind of on the fee situation, I guess, the gas fee situation.
All right, hit me. What do you got?
Well, it's a theory that that Ethereum and the things built on the Ethereum network are kind of waiting or gaming because Polkadot and is coming out with their smart contracts, and then with that's kind of the main competitors in there, and then you have the Binance Smart Chain doing their whatever, all the stuff that they do, and there's a theory that they're waiting for the time to time it right to roll out the entirety of the EIP 1559, the whole deal. You know, it's just it was more just a theory that they could do it, but they're waiting. Just that it's a timing thing, and that because that's the main basically selling point that they're pulling users from Ethereum is that the fees are too high. But I mean, they're not pulling any they're not pulling any whales or any sharks or any. Those people could really care less about the fees, but it is that network effect of lower, just the new users coming on, the retail type. So there is a competition, involved. Like the testnet is Kasuma is the testnet for DOT, and that's they're rolling out all their stuff. And Gavinwood is the solidity. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not I like Hex and I'm a fan of Ethereum, but there might be some game going on because these guys there is a competition. You can tell, there's CZ wants to take over. There's Hayden Adams with Uniswap, and those guys, they're more a little bit laid back, but they're about the business too, and it's no joke the amount of volume, that's Uniswap's done in the last year or so. So you see this, it's ramping up, and there's some other ones, we don't have to name them all, but or this could really, if they could get this thing sorted out in a good manner, I mean, it's going to be hard for anyone else to compete at that point if the gas fees weren't an issue. And I think there's a lot of, the layer 2 solutions, there might be some, I know it's all really complicated and more difficult stuff than I know how to do. So, no,
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I think you're right that there is competition happening. I think competition is good for the space. I think there's development happening on Ethereum, whereas there are scams being done everywhere else. There's pump and dumps. They're pulling in new people. They're spending lots of money on advertising and trying to screw up other networks. If you're spending all your money and trying to screw up other networks to get easy money, it's probably because you don't have a game-changing technology. Just saying. So
yeah, and if you copy and paste Uniswap's,
yeah,
like you could look at it, what they did, they're copy and pasting like Etherscan, Uniswap, the whole thing. It's like, come on, I mean, they're not hiding it, but I just don't like
that's
that.
great. There's more competition. Yeah, that copy and paste maybe is a good thing, but I think that when we look at what Staker App is doing, right? It's quality projects like that that are gonna be game changers for security for crypto going forward. They seem to be so forward thinking, and they're building on Ethereum, right? And so when you have to choose what you're building on, and when your livelihood depends on it, that's when the truth comes out as well, I think. And personally, I see this scam wick down being kind of bullish for Ethereum. I don't gamble on the price of Ethereum. I have like maybe 0.5% of my portfolio that I can just move around every once in a while, like into things, so I can feel like I'm doing something, like so I don't have idle hands. Maybe I'm making a big bet, because I'm putting a super small amount of money that's inconsequential to me back and forth between like USD and Ethereum, trying to predict the price. Like I'm not leverage trading, right? Like I did that once allegedly, and like I don't know if I made or lost money on it, but it's not for me because you get these scam wicks and then they just take all your money. And that's not, like, if that's the use case of crypto, then that's either not crypto or that's not for me. But that could allow them to put the price of Ethereum higher now that they've wiped out all those longs that deserve to have stayed and not been liquidated by a scummy exchange.
Yeah, it's pretty sad what happens on that with those deals, but we still have yet to see Ethereum, like Bitcoin, 2x, more than 2x its all-time high, which we haven't seen Ethereum do. So still pretty bullish on
I have
that.
I don't know whether Ethereum is going to go to $200 or $20,000, but I know that Hex is going to pay interest in Hex. So exactly. I don't know when the bear market is going to happen. I don't know when the bubble is going to burst, but I know if I lock my money up into Hex and keep working my day job, at least 50%, right, to cover my expenses and other stuff, then that's what I'm doing, right? I'm not going to lose all my money betting on the price of Ethereum.
Yeah, if you have Hex and Staker.rocks, you're pretty set, That was a shameless plug.
Did you make
Staker? It was my Staker domain.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, my QR probably don't show up good enough on my behind me to even be able to use it. Oh, see, it just went down. But yeah, I mean, Staker with the Gnosis safes, all that they're doing. I don't like. The more I learn about the Gnosis safe like technology, the more it's awesome, and it's because it's so much built around security and usability too. So I'm really excited to see what they're doing over there, and it's great to see that there's so much interest and that they're growing so much. That's really cool.
Somebody's asked this question multiple times. I don't know that Hex will be on Binance because Binance is an evil centralized exchange. So I can wait forever for them to list Hex because I don't need to buy it from them when I can buy it from a decentralized exchange.
Yeah, if there was some type of margin trading on it or leverage trading or whatever, they probably would, just because they like people, they like coins that get people slaughtered and wrecked, because that's when they make the money, and then whoever
Sure.
referred them made the money. Whatever,
Yeah.
fill in the blank of the name.
It's
You
it's
know,
like it's like they're the other influencers, they're sending their users there to die, right?
yeah,
Feeding them to the wolves. Uh,
yeah.
like,
So I think that's probably what I see. That's most common in them is they don't care about much but money. So it's like, if they can make you see all their things that they do, they're monetizing like hard on every single one of the things. So that's what they want to do. I mean, that's why they bought Coin Market Cap. They're funneling people there. And look at the liquidations on Binance. They're like so much higher than any other exchange. It's like disgusting. It's not cool.
yeah.
But yeah, there people are making decisions, but uh, I guess that place just gives you a lot of rope, and there's no, and then they complain that they're not being listed so much. It's like, what, right? What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah. Get out of
it,
here,
it's not
CZ.
even, I
I
mean,
already let you block me once on Twitter. I'm not gonna let you do it again. Or maybe I will. We
yeah,
got
and that,
got Crypto 303 saying something about A Bit's Alan Bittner's new Hex video. I haven't seen it. And then you're saying somebody's saying something about he literally made himself homeless to go all into Hex. Really?
like,
I knew he was
my,
going to Mexico to hang out with Randy, but I didn't. So if that's true, that's very cool. I would love to plug his. Yeah, just go check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
oh yeah, I seen his poster there. Yeah, he's doing more.
What is it?
He's gonna vlog. He's doing a vlog of his life. Like he was in Acapulco, and kind of
Already?
his Hex journey. Yeah, his first one. He was
I need to get down there.
like he rolled out of bed, had a like a vlog style episode. So kind of little rundown of how he got there, and it was
Oh,
cool. It's
dang.
a bit Hex. Yeah, on YouTube,
Yeah.
Twitter too, and he's all over the place. Yeah, I
Well,
don't know
he
if you.
he he made my favorite meme of all time, which is me as a Ninja Turtle Pokemon card.
Oh yeah, I seen that. Yeah, that was him. He won the competition, huh?
Oh yeah, I paid him. That was a T-shirt that I paid somebody that I felt the best about ever. He definitely deserved it, and so I'm gonna drop a link to his channel here in the comments live, and then I'll put it into my show notes. If you guys haven't been checking out the show notes, like after the fact, I'm putting a bunch of work into adding. If we bring up a topic or something, I'm gonna link to it in the show notes. I always wish whenever I watch a show that they would do something like that instead of just putting a bunch of referral links so they can make money. Like I'm making money because my hex is locked. So I don't need to sell you a Trezor and get $5 for that or send you to Coinbase and get $10 for that. So I'm going to try to put my descriptions I already have as things that are hopefully useful for you to put in, like really something you can read, you can hear what's going on and what have we learned from the other episodes that we've done. I think that's going to be a really helpful log for those of you who are watching it after the fact, right? We have probably 75 or 100 people watching right now, and there will be hundreds of more people watching the show on replay. Yes.
Yeah, and it would be great because I didn't really do it this time. But if any of you guys listening, if you hear any clippable, like short, like 15 to 1 minute pieces, you could just write the time down, and you could put it in the comments or because I could relay it to Hex Clips, that has the Hex Clips YouTube channel. He spends a bunch of time going through the clips to try to find them whenever if there's something at 12 minutes 20 seconds, just could write it down real quick, and then we could find it, because it takes a long time re-listening and trying to find it. I found when I was making TikToks, it's like finding it's really easy to make them, but finding those clippable pieces are the time-consuming part. So just like a timestamp.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
We really appreciate people clipping stuff. Let's see. This made me laugh. I hope everybody involved in BNB gets hit by a truck for their dirty tricks. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because it's when you hear him like talk like CZ, he seems like he'd be an okay guy, and then you see their actions like with everything, and you can tell it's like they're not. They don't care about if anyone gets wrecked or not. You know, they're just in it for them. And I don't know if so. They were based in China, right? And then China put these restrictions on, so they moved to Singapore and the Cayman Islands. And so I don't know if China like still has their hand in it, or you know what's the deal with it. But they've, you know, I'm not sure if they do or not. But it just the centralized platform, it just, you don't want to hold anything on there. You know, it's just not a good idea. They shouldn't be as big as they are, but they are. So it's just like, yeah, we need to route around them, and you know, keep it moving without them. If they're not gonna, it's not even giving a handout or anything. It's just a fair. If Hex just gets a fair shake at everything, it'll dominate. So that's really all it has to get.
That's right. Yeah, there's been meat left on the bone, and that's one of the brilliant parts about Hex that is underappreciated. Somebody's saying that they're looking forward to the stream tomorrow with myself and Whales Only and Cream. For sure, we have been getting unprecedented demand for the quantitative analysis and quant gang. We've been getting thousands of views on those. So thanks to everybody for watching. They're typically very long and informative streams.
On
Tuesday nights.
Yeah, those are good. Yeah, Whales and Cream are always good. They got the endurance for, so it might be 6, 7, 8 hours. You never know.
That's right. Yeah.
Make sure everything's charged up. Gets the extra batteries, and yeah, it's cool though. It's awesome to see each angle each guy brings, you know, and so there's a lot of value.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody in Hex is so smart. It's awesome to learn from everybody. Whales makes the point, yeah, that China may be using ghost money to buy things, just like they used ghost towns, or they built ghost towns. Okay, yeah, definitely. So good. What else? We got another 10 minutes before Hexo should start. I linked people to the 8-bit Hex. Yeah, from homeless guy to perpetual traveler in 1 year. I love that title. 8-bit's gonna blow up. He's a great guy. He invited me to Acapulco, and like I have the miles. I just didn't know whether I would get my vaccination in time because I'm a medical worker. I just got the second shot, and it seems like I've recovered from that. There's been some fatigue for a couple of days, and so now I'll be able to think more about Hex meetups and stuff like that.
Yeah, it looked like those guys had a good time at the last.
They didn't live stream enough for me. I think the whole thing should have been live streamed. Did they live stream it?
No, not much. I think it was just probably too chaotic. I mean, they're inside of
security probably too. Like,
yeah, and they were in I think they were in a theme park for some of the amount of time, so it was, you know, loud.
Bunch of streamers get together and they don't do any streams. Like, I'm sure they had a blast. But
yeah, it's probably a vacation away from it. Huh? They want to
away. Yeah. All right, I hear that.
Away from the chat.
I also like what 8-bit's doing though, with doing a stream here or doing vlogging. That's very cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if he'll be a part of the Krypto Sparbuck anymore. I don't know if
Oh,
I don't know if he's going to do both of them now, or if I'm sure he's going to be remote as long as he has, uh, service. I don't know if he's going to dedicate it more. And also Silver the Antidote coming out. He didn't really look like, what I thought he was going to look like. Kind of, but no, I pictured him a little different.
well, yeah, of course. You always picture people differently when it's a book or when you can't see their face. And then, yeah, then it's a shock to see, you know, another good-looking hexagon that's willing to show their face. I was surprised to see that he looks younger than I imagined him, for such a wise person. And so I know that was the big news. What was that, just yesterday?
Yeah, I thought he was going to look a little more nerdy, I guess. Like I thought he was going to be a little like skinnier and just different. And but now it's just normal. But um, yeah, it's cool seeing and what he has going with a lot of the travel. Because I follow some guys that have millions of subscribers, and all they do is travel and vlog it and go eat at one of the local places, and then they go look at one of the scenery, one of the local like scenery places, and that's all they do, and they get tons of engagement. So the way to create a community, and then you're building rapport with them, and then Hex is
Well,
part of you anyway. So yeah, it gets
and
blended
that's
in.
the connection between what we were just talking about with Abit doing his perpetual travels now, and what Silver the Antidote announced yesterday is that he's going to also be focusing on the crypto travel market in terms of creating content and really going all in on that.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, it's
to
cool.
attract more Hex users, to attract more users to Hex who don't know about it or who would not have learned about it. And that's a theme that we're seeing from a lot of the people in Hex. A lot of the content creators and minds are saying outbound messaging is key, right? And I agree with that. That's why I'm doing lots of different topics. And so I'll continue to speak to people in Hex and pull people in from outside of Hex. And I see a lot of value from pulling in strong hands. I don't want to pull a bunch of weak hands into Hex and get a pump that then dumps, before my long-term stakes come out. I want to attract quality users. And I believe that part of that is not just picking topics and people who will attract a quality audience, but also continuing to strengthen the hands of the people who are already in Hex and to strengthen the hands of the new people, right? Because that matters too to the equation of whether the price of Hex goes up or down. Even the Hex that's coming out of locked stakes, like the decision has not been made yet about whether you're going to sell or not, right? And so that happens on a continual basis with any Hex that people hold that's liquid, and with Hex that is coming out of stakes. You really don't know what the reality is of what you're going to do with it until you hit that sell button or you hit that restake button.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be interesting to see going forward in the next few months where we're headed. But I think the smart hexagons are seeing this time especially as a time to accumulate, get more T shares and continue on, to the road of success. It's just 2021 is just getting started. It's just I think it's gonna be a good year. But yeah, we do have to understand too that Hex is young, and it's still has to get its legs, and still gaining momentum, each and every day, each and every new staker. And so there's a lot of quality new stakers are being made every day. So that's really good. Eventually, it's going to be more prolific in there. You won't have as many
Yes.
weak handed non-believers. But some people just sell because it's their time to sell. But some people, it's something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And so a lot of people, just depending on how high the price goes, they'll think that they have a certain amount that they might want to cash out, but they're probably thinking in terms of dollar amounts rather than in hex amounts when it comes down to it, right? It's gonna, well, and purchasing power probably. So there are a lot of things to consider, but I think that as a community, we will be able to have streamers specialize, right? And we're starting to see that. People stepping on each other's toes and then like coming up with great new ideas, people competing for viewers within the Hex community and outside the Hex community. Like this is all good, right? As long as it's done respectfully and, done ethically and all that kind of stuff. I think for me, it takes practice and experience for me to be able to know what kinds of streams I'm going to be good at making, what formats are going to be good, and how I'm going to be able to contribute to the Hex community in the best way possible. So,
yeah, and that's another thing. It's like everyone, not one person is like, say, more, I guess, valued or more important than the next in the community, and it's like it's just cool to see, like as long as everyone's motive is usually wanting to get the word out. And like even with the streams, 90% of the things that most people consume on YouTube isn't live. So like if there's going to be people that are live at multiple times, and it can scatter your like base audience, but most people watch things that aren't in the community that don't already know the stuff you're saying. They're watching it days, weeks, months later down the road. So
yeah, totally.
And you can run out of if you're actually like binging on the Hex stuff, you can run out on certain content. So to have it to be able to actually play and you're gonna have overlapping times, but it's cool to see just all the people want to just get the Hex out about Staker, about all this, the airdrops, layer 2 stuff's going on. Just everyone has a good motive, it seems like, and the people that don't are usually, called out and not, and dealt with. So it's been really cool to see and be a part of.
That's right. Absolutely. And, okay, now it looks like Hexologist is getting ready to go live. And so I want to show really quick, I have to mute the sound. Okay, so I want to show real quick. I've got a couple playlists here that I welcome you to promote because I think that they help with what people are talking about in the comments here. There's two that I want to bring your attention to. There's the one that says, well, I guess three. There's the Quant Gang, and then there's, now that's what I call Hex Volume 1, right? And so that's all of the Hex songs that I've found in existence. And I mean, that'll get you through, that's 19 different videos there that are all different takes on different songs. And then here's one that I share with no coiners or new coiners would be this playlist that says what is Hex and Hex cameos. And in the first 10 minutes flat, they'll get these 3 videos that explain Hex in depth multiple times. And so that helps them to really consolidate and crystallize the information. And then next it shows the Hex 2020 Rewind, which shows an epic story of Hex that we've been through in the first year. So go ahead and check that out, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks to El Hexidente for joining. Can you tell everybody how to find you other than in the show notes?
Yeah, it would just be at El Hexidente on Twitter and on Telegram and at staker.rocks.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge of airdrops and everything Hex. I can't wait to stream with you again next time. And I'm going to drop in the chat here the link so that you can continue with your Hex viewing for the day by tuning into the Hexologist on Twitch. And then I will play my 30-second outro. Thanks, El Hexidente.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah.